Hey, what's up, guys? It's Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider, and certified veteran mortgage advisor, as you can see right there. And I want to thank you for being a part of this presentation. As you can see, we're going to talk about the VA loan. And I wanted to, again, of course, thank you guys for being on this call. Now, this is a Q&A, so you can always ask questions anytime. I actually encourage you to go ahead and put it in the chat, or you can unmute yourself if you are on the Zoom or whatever, and ask your questions, because obviously this presentation is for you guys to learn about the VA loan. Okay, but yes, again, I want to, of course, give you my appreciation for being here. And this is a live Zoom call, but I really do create this content for YouTube, and the idea is to provide education for people wanting to learn about the VA loan. And hi, it says face reused as hi Larry, hi back. I don't know who you are. I guess streamer didn't put your face, but I appreciate you saying hi. But yeah, again, the whole point of this presentation is to answer questions for you guys and provide content, for future viewers. So even though it might seem like it's kind of unpolished or whatever, the idea is I'm actually just creating the content to make the video. So if you have any questions, just go ahead and unmute yourself, whatever, and you can always ask anytime. Now, I'm going to be reading some of my scripts because I don't have it all memorized yet, but it's part of the video that I want to add, right? So the first question I have for you is, does anybody here currently work with veterans? Like, does anyone here on this call currently working with veterans now? You can chat, or you can raise your hand, or you can comment, whatever. And let's see, there's more participants. I'm adding participants here. Does anyone here currently work with veterans? Okay, the next question I have for you is, does anybody here want to work with veterans if you're not already working with them? Awesome. Damien says, yes, I want to work with more. Perfect. Thank you. All right. Could we all say that it's fair that veterans deserve the best possible real estate experience based on the sacrifice they made for our country, and we owe it to them to give them that? Does anyone agree with that statement? You can always raise your hand or comment, whatever. Okay, great. That's awesome. Because what we're going to do today is I'm going to teach everyone on this call how to provide the best possible lending and buying and selling experience that we can offer our people who are so deserving of the benefit. And over the next few minutes, I'm going to share with you those techniques that I have tried, I have proven, and I have been trained on, and I have learned through my years of experience in serving veterans at the highest possible level. So get comfortable, uh, get your notepads out. We're going to dive right in, and we're not going to leave anyone behind. So do me a favor. If you do have any questions, please feel free to interrupt me, because I want to make sure everyone leaves here with a deep understanding on what it is we're committed to do. Okay. So like I said, the idea is to educate ourselves on the VA loan and do whatever we can to serve them the best we can. Okay. So, quick bio: I'm a certified veteran mortgage advisor at the Larry Lee team at Open Mortgage. I've been licensed since 2016. I make a joke about it all the time because we had a conversation where my wife and I were talking to someone, and they asked how long she was in the business, and I told them a couple of years. She's like, "It's been like 5 years." I'm like, "Holy shit!" That means I've been in the mortgage business for a long time, because of course, I'm the one who brought my wife in. So 6 years apparently, right? Does that make me a senior loan officer? I don't know. Maybe not. I have a side hustle as a social media marketing coach, and I run my own ad agency, Robots LLC. The reason I bring that up is because what you're a part of right now is my attempt to sort of marry the two passions, helping clients with the mortgages, especially the VA loan, and using my social media resources and abilities to sort of promote that, to sort of bring awareness, right? I am licensed in, actually, it's no longer 11, it's actually 10. I should change that. Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. So I'm actually licensed in 10 states: Arizona, California, Florida, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Michigan, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Texas. And my MLS is 1440741. My mission is that I love the mortgage business, but I was fed up with the lack of education and information clients were provided during their application process. So I created a first-time homebuyer coaching class for mortgage clients that provides instant access to answers to questions and simple explanations to the mortgage process and how to qualify. I also provide one-on-one coaching for those who want it. So basically, what I'm trying to achieve is I'm trying to create sort of like a on-demand, kind of like Netflix for mortgage education, because there's lots to the mortgage process that, for honestly, you only get from your loan officer. And I think loan officers are doing a horrible job of of educating their clients. I think the industry has, as a whole, is doing a horrible job of educating the client on the home buying process. So I'm trying to provide that. And I'm making it so that you don't have to talk to a loan officer. You don't have to talk to me. You don't have to sign up for anything. You don't have to call anyone. You can actually, like YouTube or Netflix or whatever, you can just type in your question and you'll find the answers online. That's what I'm trying to do. Okay. And when I say one-on-one coaching, of course, you have to engage with me. You have to actually tell me that you're interested in finding out information. And you might have to tell me who you are, right? So you can't ghost me if you want one-on-one coaching, but you don't have to do that. You can always find the information online if you want to. At least that's what I'm trying to create. Okay. Unlike other loan officers, I made it my passion to coach first-time homebuyers on the mortgage process, and that makes all the difference of how I've helped hundreds of people get on the right path to homeownership, with many of them becoming homeowners. You remind me of many of my smart, successful, and savvy clients who are now homeowners, because you are taking the right step on the home purchasing process by educating yourself and being prepared like they did by being on this video, of course. The home buying process is very confusing to most people, but that is why I am here, to simplify the process and make sure you are 100% prepared in the home buying process and to become ahead of the competition in this insane market. For example, I can provide a fully underwritten pre-approval, where if you were to apply, we actually push you through underwriting and basically get you as fully approved to the further extent without having a property. That way, when you do go find a property and you make an offer, you can actually give them a commitment letter saying that you've already been approved 100% through underwriting. You're conditionally approved. So it's almost as good as cash, right? And that helps you become more competitive when you're making offers, because you can close faster and the confidence there. Like, you basically are guaranteeing that you're going to be able to buy this house, right? Versus someone who hasn't even gone through underwriting, or no one has even looked at their documents. Okay. So that's what I'm helping to provide. All right. So there's my certificate. I'm very proud to be a certified veteran mortgage advisor. And this is like the only time I get to talk about it. So I appreciate you guys looking at that. My why, real quickly: my wife and my kids, including my boys, Bruce and Hunter. They're both on the spectrum for autism. So I am working to develop enough resources to put them through ABA therapy. They're nonverbal. So I talked to a lot of parents who have children that were also on the spectrum, and they said that ABA therapy is a game changer for their children. So I'm definitely wanting to put them through that. So that's my number one why. My second why is, of course, helping veterans. And I explained that in a Facebook post that I made in the past. My father was living in Da Nang, Vietnam during the fall of Saigon. My mother lived in Saigon. My father left by helicopter, my mother by boat. It was U.S. soldiers who helped them get in the helicopter and on that boat. And those were definitely U.S. military ships. Okay. They met in Hong Kong, China. If it wasn't for a U.S. soldier, my parents may not have survived, met, and had me, and I wouldn't have what I have today. I might not even exist. Those U.S. soldiers are veterans now, assuming, right? Thank you, vets. I owe you my life. Basically, what I'm saying is that my parents were rescued from the fall of Vietnam, fall of Saigon, not fall of Vietnam, fall of Saigon, by the U.S. military. So if it wasn't for the U.S. military being involved in basically helping evacuate my parents, they never would have met at the refugee camp in Hong Kong, and they never would have fallen in love, and I wouldn't exist, and my boys wouldn't exist. So I basically owe them everything. Okay. All right. So what's a VA home loan? A VA home loan is a mortgage guaranteed by the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs and is issued by a private lender such as a bank, credit union, or mortgage company. What I want to emphasize is a lot of people think that the VA loan or the VA loan is funded by the VA, the Veteran Affairs, right? And that's not the case. They guarantee the loan. And what that really means is that they're expecting the lenders, like myself, to provide the loan with no money down, but they're guaranteeing that if the loan were to default for whatever reason, the VA will cover 25% of the original loan amount, right? So basically, they're vouching for the veteran, saying, "I will guarantee 25% equity. I will give you 25% down, whatever it is you, however you want to look at it. You are guaranteed 25% equity on this property, no matter what. If this veteran were to default, now of course, if the veteran were to pay it off, or whatever, then you got your money, right? But if the veteran, for whatever reason, again defaulted on the loan, they're guaranteeing the lender up to 25%. So that's basically how the VA loan works. Okay, so that's why the VA sort of dictates who qualifies because they're the ones guaranteeing the down payment. Okay. But the crazy part about it, if you really think about it, the VA is not really involved at all if the veteran gets the loan and pays it off. The VA is literally like does not have any actual involvement on the loan itself. It's almost like an agreement that they're making if this were to happen, right? Uh, but they say in order for them to put them at that risk, you got to meet their guidelines, and there is a fee that you pay to the VA because defaults do happen, and they need help in maintaining this program. Okay, which we'll address later. All right. So before we talk about what I want to talk about, which is how the underwriting part of the VA is easier, because a lot of people think underwriting for VA is a lot more difficult, and I probably should have said that in the beginning. Um, I want to talk about the opportunity, and this will help you understand a little bit more about why I think it's better or easier to underwrite VA loans than any other loans. Okay, millennials and Gen Z pushed VA loans to a record in 2021. Millennials and Gen Z veterans accounted for more than half of all VA purchase loans in the record year for this historical benefit program, according to the National Mortgage News. Gen Z, in particular, is starting to make its presence felt in markets across the country. I like how I found that picture of a bunch of uh, people in uniform taking selfies, right? That to me that kind of like personifies millennial uh, military people. um, Non-veteran millennials struggle, whereas veteran millennials thrive. Okay, and despite many non-military millennials having a tough time buying homes, often saddled with student debts and working to save for a down payment, millennial and Gen Z veterans accounted for half of all VA purchase loans in fiscal 2022. Fiscal, fiscal. It's weird. I'm from Frisco, so maybe that's why I'm saying it that way. Uh, Millennial and Gen Z veteran accounted for half of all VA purchase loans in fiscal 2020, according to the Chicago Tribune. So many millennials are stuck on the sidelines because they don't have great credit, they don't have the savings for a down payment. They continued. Younger veterans and service members are really ahead of the curve when it comes to home buying compared with their civilian counterparts. Now, what is the takeaway there? It's basically saying millennials, which we all know at this moment, if you're in real estate, that's like the largest buyers right now. Well, maybe boomers are still buying, right? But millennials is like the generation that's buying the most, right? But they're saying that millennials in general are struggling to buy because a lot of them have student debt, and a lot of times their credit's not as good or whatever. Whereas the veterans, they don't have student loan debt because they have the GI Bill if they went to school, and there's no down payment, right? So you're definitely in an advantage if you're a millennial that's a veteran. Okay, and there's more to why veterans have a better chance or easier chance of qualifying, right? VA loans outperforms all other loans in 2021. Today, the VA loans actually close at a higher rate than conventional mortgages. Okay, let me repeat that. Today, VA loans actually close at a higher rate than conventional mortgages. Okay, for all home purchases in June 2021, 70% for VA loans successfully closed, compared to only 51% of all other mortgages, according to Ellie Mae, a mortgage application software company. Ellie Mae is uh, they run like Encompass, which is a loan officer type program that is almost like the default, right? It's like the Windows for loan officers, right? So they have all this data, and based on that data, they're saying that 70% of VA loans close successfully, whereas only 51% of the other loans close successfully, right? That should tell you something about the underwriting part, right? And they're being utilized more often as well. Data from the Department of Veteran Affairs showed that the number of VA loans went up 8% year over year in 2021, marking the 10th consecutive year of growth. This is my favorite part about the VA loan, and this again talks about the slide before about the millennials, right? I'll show you what I mean. The VA loans are more flexible with buying power. Okay, the VA loans typically have a lower interest rate than conventional mortgages. They allow for higher debt to income ratios and lower credit scores, and they don't require private mortgage insurance. If you can qualify, the VA loan is the best program out there. Now, I want to emphasize a few things. They allow for a higher debt to income ratio and lower credit scores. Actually, technically, the VA does not have a minimum credit score. Okay, it's the lenders who has an overlay or requirement, a restriction they place on top of that. But because the VA has no credit score restrictions, I would say the lenders are a little bit more liberal, a little bit more flexible with the scores that they're willing to work with. So that means that a veteran millennial versus a regular millennial, let's say they both have the same scores. Well, the regular millennial will still struggle to qualify because they're subject to FHA or conventional loans, whereas the veteran has the flexibility that the VA loan provides in terms of the fact that there's no credit limit, right? Or credit minimum. Okay, and they can buy more because their debt to ratios are more flexible. Okay, and there's again more to it. Zero down, that makes it easier as well, right? So the military is the U.S.'s largest employer with over 3.1 million employees worldwide. There's over 1.4 million VA loans originated in 2021. I think did I misspell that? I don't know. Veteran home ownership exceeds the national average by 20%. Military personnel continues to be relocated every 2 to 5 years, and career service members move numerous times, which means repeat purchase business. If you're in real estate or you're a loan officer, this should tell you that the VA loan is very beneficial because you have the opportunity to work with clients over and over and over. So there's a little bit of loyalty there, right? Um, Texas had 1,435,787 veteran residents in 2021, and the number is climbing. Texas also had 34 billion of VA purchases in 2021, and 28.2% of Texas veterans have service-connected disability. The reason I'm talking about Texas is because that's where I'm based out of. I'm in 10 different states, but if you look at your state statistics, the numbers are pretty staggering. Okay, and the reason I emphasize the service-connected disability because depending on your state, there may be benefits to that. Like maybe you can get tax benefits, right? In Texas, and I think in North Carolina for sure, because I learned about it a couple months ago, where there's certain tax benefits of having a service connected disability. So look that up for your state, okay? Which basically means more buying power. I mean, if there's tax benefits, then it means they can put less money in taxes and more towards the house. Okay. Veteran homeowners statistics. Okay, and this is the slide that kind of makes me feel like I need to do these classes every single day if I can, right? Because I think there's a lack of awareness. Okay, only 24% of qualified veteran homeowners are currently using their VA home loan. That means out of 100 veterans who own a house right now, only 24 of them are using the VA loan. Why? That makes no sense. Okay. Uh, Less than 5 years ago, only 12% of veterans who are using the VA loan benefits, I'm sorry, only 12% of veterans were using their VA loan benefits. That means there's like 88% or 88, yeah. So I have 100 veterans, there's 80 of them who could be using the VA loan benefit. Okay, but it is slowly growing due to the growing awareness among internet savvy veterans, meaning like I guess millennial veterans. They're learning more about the VA loan because their parents probably didn't have access to information as easily as the millennials did. So the parents who are veterans didn't know about the VA loan. Okay. 33% of veterans that have a mortgage indicate they did not know about the VA program. Now that's a really bad thing. That when I read that, I was like, that's not good. That means 1/3 of veterans who have a mortgage are said that they did not know about the VA loan. Okay, that's a lot of veterans not knowing about the VA loan. I mean, why, right? I mean, that means out of all the veterans you talk to, a third of them don't even know that they have the VA loan benefit. Okay, how many buyers do you think you can convert if you're a real estate agent or a loan officer? How many buyers do you think you can convert if you were to let every single veteran that you meet know about the VA loan? Okay, and 46% of veterans reported that their lender had not brought up the VA loan option. That means almost half. So people like me, right? Veterans who were buying said that said that almost half of their lenders did not bring up the VA loan. Why? Like that makes no sense. Like if I'm speaking to a veteran, I should be talking about the VA loan. So they're saying that all the veterans who have a mortgage, half of them said that the lender did not bring it up. That means half of the people that are like me are not even bringing it up. That's crazy. Okay, so we need to change that. So there should be three mandatory questions. Well, really, I think there should only be one mandatory question. But if the answer is yes, then of course you ask the other question, right? But you should ask, are you or your spouse a veteran, right? And I know it's kind of weird to ask every person that question, but it's important because there's a VA loan. That's a loan option, right? You just want to see what they qualify for. If they say no, no problem. You just move on and go to the next. But if they say yes, then the next question should be, are you entitled to a disability from the VA? And then the next question is, do you have your certificate of eligibility yet? Right. And I'm telling you, if more than half, or not more than half, almost half of the veterans who talked to lenders did not even know about the VA loan or did not get the VA loan mentioned, you could be like their hero if you're the first person to explain to them what the VA loan is, meaning they're zeroed out, right? If they didn't even know about it. So it's definitely worth asking these questions. Okay. The benefits of, oh, actually, I need to move to the next slide because I meant to update this slides, but I didn't because I switched companies. So this is actually where we need to be at right now. So forgive the whole, I don't know how to use PowerPoint. So forgive, I don't know how to do whatever. So you're just going to have to see the slides like this. Okay. So the first myth I busted a couple of weeks ago was a zero down equals a weak buyer, which is not simply not true. Okay. And if you want to see the video, you can always probably, if you're watching this on YouTube, you could probably go through my channel. You can find it, or you can just search for it. And of course, for you guys who are streaming, just go ahead and do the same thing. Like you can just actually probably like I'll have a link here for my YouTubers, but for the people watching live, just go to my channel, and I actually will have versions of that particular class already up there. Okay, all right. So uh, again, the myth is VA loans are harder to get through underwriting. Okay. Uh, So again, the myth is VA loans are hard to get through underwriting. The truth is, underwriters are encouraged to consider every possible appropriate factor in seeking a proper basis for approving loan applications for every qualified veteran. That's according to VA 26.7. Okay, -7. Now, what that really means is that they're actually telling underwriters to find a way to qualify the veteran if it's possible. Okay. Um, and Bill White, who's basically the godfather of the VA loan, right? He says, as long as the lenders document their reasoning, it is extremely unlikely the VA staff would ever take issue with their decision. Okay. So the point I'm making is that the VA loan is actually designed to serve veterans and get them in their homes. The backstory is that when these soldiers came back from war, they didn't have a chance to build a down payment. They didn't have a chance to get work history. They didn't have a chance to really work on their credit, right? But they were home and we needed to help them get into a house. So the VA loan was created for these individuals. And that's why they have such flexible standards like no credit score, right? Because again, you're fighting a war maybe for the last couple years, whatever. You don't have the ability to work on your credit, right? And you've been at war, right? You've been fighting, so you didn't have the ability to make a down payment or save money to make a down payment, right? So they just want people put these people who deserve it in homes. So they're like saying, we're going to vouch for them we're going to ask the lenders to buy houses for them, and we're going to vouch for them as long as they meet these criteria. Okay, but if you read the VA handbook or the guidelines, they really talk about what you can do. They really don't. They really don't talk about what you can't do, right? So again, as Bill White said right here, as long as the lenders document the reason is it's extremely unlikely the VA staff would ever take issue with it. So the underwriting issue is not really with the VA; it's really with the underwriters, okay, and their decision making. Okay. Um, Now, why do lenders want to do VA loans more than conventional and FHA? Well, in terms of performance, the VA has a very low default rate, 1.98%, whereas conventional has 2.47%, which is not quite half, right? It's a little bit higher, but the FHA's portfolio performance is 9.1%. It's very poor performance. It's almost like quadruple, right? So that's one of the reasons why lenders want VA loans. Uh, and when it comes to Fannie and Freddie, if there's a default, there's no protection. Ginnie Mae, that's misspelled. I should change that. Let me go change that right now. You see, this is not even my slides. It's a default slide, right? So my new slides would have already fixed. So sorry about that. But yeah, Ginnie Mae and VA, there's a guaranteed coverage because they guarantee 25%. That's kind of like the whole point. Like I brought that up, right? The VA is basically guaranteeing that the lender will get paid up to 25% if the loan were to default. Okay. But if it doesn't default, then you got your money. So that's all that matters, right? So again, hopefully that helps you understand that they're not hard to get through under. And there's other things to be said. A lot of people think that because of the appraisal process, it's also harder because of that as well. And that's for another class. There's probably gonna be a link if you're watching this on YouTube. There's probably a link here, or you can always search it. But there's actually ways to get around the appraisal process if it's not in your favor. Um, it offers uh, actually two opportunities to get around the appraisal. So what I mean by that is people think that the VA appraisal is tougher, and because of that, it's an inferior loan. When in reality, the VA offers opportunities and flexibilities on the appraisal process, whereas you can't get that with any other loan product. You can't get that with conventional. You cannot get that with FHA. You cannot get that with USDA. Okay, so the VA is the only loan product that allows for discussion and opportunities to literally supersede the appraisal, okay, which helps in underwriting. Okay, and the whole idea of the class or the conversation is that it's not that VA loans are hard to get through underwriting. It's that people don't understand the VA loan as much. As you can see statistically, loan officers, uh, almost half of them don't even mention the VA loan whenever they're talking to a veteran. Okay. Uh, so I believe it's more a lack of education and a lack of confidence on the program. It's not that it's harder, it's different. Okay. And people tend to mess up the guidelines. Like they think FHA guidelines apply to VA guidelines when it's two totally different entities, right? But also, I think that the lack of experience, the lack of education on the VA loan is what makes it so that it's more difficult. But it's not more difficult. It's people mess it up because they don't know what they're doing, right? So that's why you need to talk to a certified veteran mortgage advisor like myself and the community I'm a part of, because we actually make it our passion. We make it our mission to specialize on the VA loan and therefore really solve the problem of underwriting being an issue, right? And if you also notice, the ingredients are also better with a veteran buyer versus other buyers because they are more qualified in general. Their scores are higher in general. They actually have more income in general. And they have no need for down payment, but they usually have more funds in general, right? So there's lots of things that makes the VA loan actually a better loan, not just because the process is better, but the borrowers as a pool, they're just more qualified in general. Okay. So hopefully that dispels the myth, like I said, the VA buyer being, VA loans being hard to get to underwriting. It's simply not true. Okay. So again, I consider that myth busted. Oh, well, I guess that's it. All right. So again, I really appreciate you guys being on this call. If you have any questions, you are free to ask them now. If you want to chat it or unmute yourself, but uh, hopefully that makes sense. What I just presented to you guys. Okay, so I was talking about the different processes for underwriting and the appraisal. The appraisal allows for tidewater and reconsideration of value. Okay, so tidewater is basically, I'm not going to read all this, but tidewater is basically saying if the house does not meet value, because the appraiser does know the purchase price. If the appraiser does not meet value, the appraiser actually gives the people involved an opportunity to provide comps or comparables to show the value that the appraiser is having trouble finding, right? And they usually have 48 hours to do this. And if you provide comps and it meets the value, then the appraiser will go ahead and give you an okay, like this house didn't meet appraisal, didn't meet the value, right? And therefore give you a chance to uh, contribute to the value of the appraisal before it's final, right? Of course, if you provide comps or you don't provide comps and it doesn't work out, then of course, then the veteran or the VA appraiser will provide their value, their opinion value, and therefore, in most cases, you have to renegotiate, or just start making decisions. Right now, the second process, which a lot of people don't know, a lot of lenders don't know, because we hear statistics about how out of like 100 appraisals that didn't meet value, only 5% were sent in for a reconsideration of value. The statistics are probably a little bit different, but it's low, right? Um, the reconsideration value is literally giving the lender an opportunity, uh, and of course the veteran an opportunity to sort of explain why they think the house meets value, regardless of comps or not, right? And there's a 15% authority, meaning like let's say the house $100,000, they can go up to $115,000. I think that's what the numbers mean. The great thing about the statistics, out of the 5% that were submitted for reconsideration of value, up to 50% of them at least did gain some sort of exception or some sort of increase in the value, right? So it has based on statistics, 50% of them were successful. That's half, right? That's pretty good. But out of the people who actually submitted, only 5% were actually submitted for reconsideration of value, whereas the other 95% were dealt with however, right? So I think it's very underutilized, which also might add to the whole stigma of why VA loans are hard to underwrite, right? It's a lack of education, is a lack of knowledge. A lot of people don't, I didn't know about this. I didn't know about the ROV, or reconsideration of value, until I got my certification. Okay. So I think a lack of knowledge and awareness of this process is another reason why the VA loan gets sort of a bad rep, right? It's about the VA be the weaker buyer, right? So who's a stronger buyer in 2020? Well, borrow A has a FICO of 672, median household income of 68,703, an average loan amount of 232, versus borrower B, who has a 736 FICO score, median household income of 90,156, and an average loan amount of 304,844. Well, compared to two, the VA buyer is stronger in general in 2022. Okay, they have a higher median credit score, they have a higher median household income, and they have a higher loan amount. A median FICO for a veteran is 720. Liquid assets 17,000. Household income is 73,000. 28% of veterans hold at least a bachelor's degree. 1.4 million VA loans were originated in 2021, and 80% of the vets use their VA benefit after active duty, meaning after they're retired, right? So again, these statistics or these numbers and this information, I believe, shows that the VA buyer in general is a more qualified buyer versus like your typical applicants, right? So I think that helps with the whole underwriting thing, meaning like RV loans hard to underwrite. Well, you have a better buyer in general, right? Because underwriting involves the quality of the buyer, obviously, and of course, the quality of the house. But you have a more qualified buyer, and the property has multiple chances of meeting value, right? So again, that's my contention as to why I think it, it's a myth that VA is harder in underwriting. Okay, so again, the VA home loan is a loan other buyers can only dream of obtaining. You earn the right by serving our great nation. It's my job to facilitate your dream of homeownership. Thank you for your service. And if you have any questions, just let me know. I really appreciate it. This is Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider and certified veteran mortgage advisor. Thanks.